want the city of Baltimore now to stand behind us all for a labor peace agreement at the Hyatt.
Yes.
Now I'm going to tell you my story, and then I'm going to introduce people that are going to help us pray. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot of marching, demonstrating, actions ahead of us. So we got to always begin that with a prayer, but let me tell you about my story and why this matters so much to me. Once upon a time in the late 1970s, the unions of this city, and a lot of them are here tonight, thank you, thank you. The unions in this city, under the leadership of a man named Tom Bradley, a very quiet, honest man, were asked by the city to go to Washington and get a special grant of $20 million that would attract the Hyatt, that the Hyatt said they needed to build this hotel. So Tom Bradley went to the Hyatt and said, if I do this for you, will you promise me that you will allow the people who come to work at this Hyatt all the fairness if they wish to organize and unionize? And Hyatt said, yes, we promise. It was a handshake because Tom Bradley trusted others the way he trusted his own honesty. And they broke their promise to this day. So, we're going to change it. We're going to make them honest men and women. It's going to be great. It'll take a long time to do the right thing, but it's never too late. So, ladies and gentlemen, you are brave, you are cold, you are out here, you are the reason that it's going to work out, and they're going to do the right thing. Hang in, and let's get the whole city of Baltimore behind us now. I want to introduce 4 people and ask them to come forward who will speak to us and pray with us and lead us in prayer. Steve Holt, who is here from the Anglican Church. Rabbi Doug Heifetz, please come forward and join us. Reverend Canon Angela Shepherd from the Episcopal Diocese, and maybe the man you know the best of this group right now, Father Ty Hullinger. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen of God.
We're going to start by lighting candles. And so actually during the first 4 weeks, before Christmas are known as Advent on the Christian calendar. And so during that time, each week on Sunday, we light 1 candle. And the season of Advent is a season of expectation. It's a season of knowing that the God of justice will act and will put right all that is wrong in the world. And each of these candles represents a gift that God gives to us, to be a part of being light in the darkness, and to be a part of that work of justice. And so on the first Sunday of Advent, we light the candle of hope. On the second Sunday of Advent, we light the candle of love. We try to light the candle of love. On the third Sunday of Advent, we light the candle of joy. On the fourth Sunday of Advent, we light the candle of peace. And on Christmas Day, we light the Christ candle, which represents God becoming someone like us. And with each of these gifts, we bring our light into the world to overcome the darkness and to move us forward as we participate in God's work for justice. Here at this Hyatt, at Hyatts across the country, in the city of Baltimore, and everywhere that God has called us to be light.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. It's good to see you all here to help bring warmth to one another, to give each other courage in this struggle for justice, to give one another hope, and to be able to help one another to bring light into the world. It is no coincidence that the different faith traditions of the world have traditions of lighting candles, of celebrating light in this darkest of seasons. So now, around the solstice in December, is the time where the days are the shortest, when we have the least sunlight, as you can tell by the fact that the sun has already set over this plaza. But this is also the week of December, when we have the least moonlight. This is the time when the moon of the last month has completely faded out, and just before, or just around the time that the sliver of the new moon starts to appear. So within that time of least sunlight, this is also the time when we have the least moonlight. And that's when Hanukkah in the Jewish tradition always occurs, in the darkest of the darkest times of the year. So we celebrate Hanukkah, as always, at the darkest time of the year, today and this week. But also, there's another kind of darkness going on that so many of us know about, that so many of you know about all too clearly. And it's the darkness of this company that has not honored its agreements with the people of Baltimore and with the people of our area. A company that does not pay living wages or offer reasonable working conditions. It's the darkness of a company that all too often recently has harassed and illegally interrogated its workers. And so especially now in this darkness, not only the darkness of the sun and the moon, but the darkness of the conditions that this company has created, it's our responsibility to shine a light into the world. And we do that by lighting candles, as Reverend Holt has done, and as I will do by lighting the Hanukkah candles, a tradition that I'm happy to share with you as I continue with my personal celebration of Hanukkah. So I'll say a couple of blessings as we light the candles and we work to shine a light for justice. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Hanukkah. We give thanks for the tradition, the commandment of lighting the Hanukkah lights. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asa nisim lavotenu bayamim hahem bazman hazeh. We give thanks for the miracles that were with us then and that are with us now, when people stand up together to achieve victory, even in the face of the greatest powers that may try to stop us.
We've lit the lamps of justice tonight in the sacred Advent wreath and menorah. Now we're going to light the light of justice that burns within our hearts, our minds, our souls. And this prayer will carry us into this evening as people who trust that someone like me can do good things when they unite together. And so the litany will begin. We'll recite these first 6 verses together, and then we alternate. Reverend Canon Shepherd or myself will lead, and then we all respond with 3 words. What are those words? Someone like me! Blessed are they who will light the lamps of justice, for workers throughout the world. Blessed are they who will keep the lamps of justice lit for Hyatt workers in Baltimore. Blessed are they who will keep the lamps of justice lit for someone like me. We light these lamps of justice tonight to shine on the goodness of the Hyatt workers. We light the lamps of justice tonight to expose the shadows of unfair labor practices. We light the lamps of justice tonight to scatter the darkness of corporate greed. We light these lamps of justice tonight because we remember when God created the lights of the sun, the moon, the stars, and the planets, and when God called that light good, God created light for
someone like me.
When God gave Adam and Eve their dignity and called them very good because they were made in God's own image, God gave dignity to
someone like me.
when God entrusted the right to work to Eve and Adam as the way to use one's creativity and talents and to achieve one's dreams and desires, God entrusted the right to work to
someone like me.
When God made a sacred promise to Adam, Sarah, and Hagar that his descendants would be more numerous than the stars of heaven, God made a sacred promise to
Someone like me.
When God called Moses forth to lead God's people from a place of slavery to a place of freedom, God called forth
Someone like me.
When God promised to journey with the people as a pillar of light, to guide their feet by day and night as they journey through the desert, God promised to journey with
Someone like me.
when God commissioned holy prophets like Isaiah and Jeremiah to shine the light of justice on unfair labor practices in their day, to remind employers they must pay a just wage and to pay it on time, and to know these commands as sacred obligations, God commissioned
Someone like me.
when God chose to make a dwelling in the world, in the humble home of poor workers like Joseph and Mary. God chose to dwell in the humble home of
Someone like me.
when Jesus challenged the people to be persons of integrity and solidarity by saying to them, "You are the light of the world. Let your light shine before others so they may see your good works." Jesus challenged
Someone like me.
We light these lamps of justice tonight because we see that when employers like Hyatt violate the dignity of their workers by requiring a worker to do the jobs of 3 or 4 persons during a shift, employers like Hyatt violate the dignity of someone like me.
when employers like Hyatt hurt their workers by cutting their hours, suppressing their wages, replacing full-time Hyatt jobs with semi-permanent temporary jobs, jobs that are without benefits, employers like Hyatt hurt
Someone like me.
When employers like Hyatt are act unjustly toward their workers by failing to remain completely neutral when workers begin to organize, and by unfairly firing workers who organize for a union, employers like Hyatt act unjustly towards
Someone like me.
We light these lamps of justice tonight to honor the Hyatt workers, because we believe that when Hyatt workers raise up issues of workplace injustice that affect themselves and their co-workers, Hyatt workers raise up issues of injustice that affect
Someone like me.
when Hyatt workers plead their case to the NLRB and our court system for fair and just resolution of workplace violations and unfair labor practices. Hyatt workers plead a case for
Someone like me.
when Hyatt workers speak up for the fundamental human right of every worker to freely organize and to join or form a union of workers. Hyatt workers are speaking up for
Someone like me.
when Hyatt workers march for better working conditions, workplace safety, and fair pay for all. Hyatt workers march for
Someone like me.
when Hyatt workers are willing to risk everything for the sake of just and better working conditions, but not just for themselves, but for others. Hyatt workers are risking everything for
Someone like me.
when people of many faiths and cultures stand together in support of their sister and brother Hyatt worker in this sacred cause. People of many faiths and cultures are standing together for someone like me.
And when we light these lamps of justice and promise to keep these lamps lit, as we do tonight, we light lamps of justice for
Someone like me.
My friends, let us pray. O God of the lights of heaven and the lights of earth, shine your brightness upon your people who gather here tonight to stand in solidarity with our sister and brother Hyatt workers. Give us the courage to stand with these proud and good workers as they seek a fair and just workplace, to work in a place that respects their human dignity, and who want only what is right and true, a just wage, a safe workplace, health care for themselves and their families, an opportunity to advance and achieve, and the right to organize themselves to secure these basic rights. Lord, help us shine your divine light upon the darkness of the injustices these workers face each day, and give us all the peace that comes in knowing that we have the gift of solidarity, that we are willing to stand together, walk together, pray together, march together, sing together, light candles together, fight together, until these basic human rights are secured for our brothers and sisters, our brother and sister Hyatt workers and all workers, who always is and always will be someone like me. My friends, I now invite Tracy Lingo forward with a Hyatt worker to continue our praise.
So I want to introduce Denise Sidbury, who's a housekeeper at the Hyatt Regency, and Debbie Wright, who's a bartender. Debbie, are you going first? Pardon me? Are you starting? Or is Denise starting? Denise is starting.
Good afternoon, my brothers and sisters. Glad everyone could make it. My name is Denise Sidbury, and I've been working at the Hyatt for 12 years as a housekeeper. Since our fight 6 months ago, we became publicly known that we wanted a fair process. And ever since then, I've seen some good things happen and some bad things. The bad things that's happened, a couple of our leaders were terminated because of the fight. Some of the good things that came out of this, the housekeepers no longer work, clean 30 rooms a day. They've also been offered benefits, even though they can't afford them. But they were offered to them. And we also received raises, which we should have been got a long time ago.
Good evening. Thank you everyone for coming out to join us in this fight. My name is Debbie Wright, and I've been an employee for Hyatt Regency for over 27 years. And thank you. And I've been a struggle for 27 years. I've struggled for 27 years to hang on to my job. I've struggled 27 years to make ends meet. I've struggled 27 years to assist employees to keep their jobs. And as some of us may know, Hyatt went public about roughly 2 years ago. And for those of you who don't know what that means, is that they made it available for individuals to purchase shares in the company. I did purchase some shares with Hyatt, and Hyatt has a board of directors now because of the fact that they have gone public. But I feel, and my fellow co-workers feel, my committee members feel as though that the board of directors and Hyatt would be better well served if someone like me were on that board. Thank you.
Yes. So I know that we have someone to lead us in a song, and while we're singing, we're going to start marching towards the Hyatt and take our lights and shine our lights on Hyatt and shine the light of justice on Hyatt with this message that we've had today.
You are the light of the world. The light of God shines in each one of you. And you need to let your light shine here in the Inner Harbor. Let your light shine in the Hyatt Regency Hotel. Let your light shine from the bedrooms to the boardrooms. Let your light shine whether you're cooking or whether you're cleaning, whether you're in housekeeping or whether you're in bookkeeping. Let your light shine before all people so that they will see your good work and give glory to God. Will you sing with me? This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. If Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Don't let Hyatt blow it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Don't let Hyatt blow it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Don't let Hyatt blow it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All over Baltimore, I'm gonna let it shine. All over Baltimore, I'm gonna let it shine. All over Baltimore, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. We're gonna walk over to the Hyatt. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Don't let Hyatt blow it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Don't let Hyatt blow it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Don't let Hyatt blow it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All over Baltimore, I'm gonna let it shine. All over Baltimore, I'm gonna let it shine. All over Baltimore, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Tell me these stories. 2, 4, 6, 8. We want justice, we won't wait. 2, 4, 6, 8. We want justice, we won't wait. 2, 4, 6, 8. We want justice, we won't wait. 2, 4, 6, 8. We want justice, we won't wait. 2, 4, 6, 8. We want justice, we won't wait. 2, 4, 6, 8. We want justice, we won't wait. 2, 4, 6, 8. We want justice, we won't wait. 2, 4, 6, 8. We want justice, we won't wait. 2, 4, 6, 8. We want justice, we can't wait.
I'm pastor of St. Anne and St. Wenceslas parishes here in Baltimore. I'm a Franciscan friar and a representative of the Franciscan Action Network based in Washington, D.C., which is a network of Franciscan men and women from all over the United States who seek to advocate for justice for the poor, who seek to bring peace to our streets and our cities and our communities, and who strive to bring about a healthy environment, a protection of God-given creation. I'm here today to represent all of those different agencies in advocating for the workers at Hyatt, but also for all of the other workers at other hotel chains and other union workers everywhere who struggle to survive in our current economy, who strive to maintain a decent standard of living against the forces of an economy which is not always respectful of the needs of the poor and even of those who work for them. We are concerned with the outsourcing of jobs. We're concerned with the hiring of temporary workers without benefits at minimum wage. And so we're here simply to stand with our brothers and sisters in the Hyatt workforce and to advocate for their rights and their needs as they strive to make a living for themselves and to survive in this current state of the economy.
We don't like your attitude. 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 Rich and rude. 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 We don't like your attitude. We don't like your attitude. We don't like your attitude.
Well, our church through the centuries, but especially in the past 125 years, has taken a strong stand in support of the poor, in support of peacemaking, in support of the quality of life in our environment. And so it's simply an expression of the gospel. Jesus Christ came to liberate all people. He said, I come to bring good news to the poor, liberty to captives, sight to the blind, and to proclaim a year of good news for the poor. And so we continue to advocate for the poor today as Jesus did in his day. Well, St. Francis, of course, grew up in a time when there was a new merchant class emerging in society, a merchant class that was not respectful of the needs of the poor, and Francis chose to stand among the poor and advocate for their needs and their rights then, as he advocated for the well-being of the environment and for peace in society. So what he began then, we continue to advocate today.
Think the Hyatt got the message? As Mary Pat said, the fight in the Hyatt's been a long time coming. But the workers here have tremendous courage, and we've already had some victories. I know a lot of you were out here with us about a month ago when we heard that the National Labor Relations Board is going to prosecute Hyatt for fighting. And a lot of you also know that one of the things about Hyatt is that even though they promised our city good jobs, they've actually temped out about a third of the jobs here. And a lot of people who work here have worked here for 5 years, 10 years, with no benefits, no sick days, and no job security. And one of those temp workers stood up with us when we all stood up. And what did the company do? Hyatt made sure that the temp company, United Services, fired her too. But we just this week got word that United Services is going to pay her for all the time she missed. And she wanted to, they would have brought her, the railroad would have made her and brought her back, but she said she didn't want to come back. So Michelle is here with us today, and we want to celebrate Michelle's And because of Michelle's bravery, all the other temps at Hyatt are going to get a statement in their paychecks that they have the right to organize just like every other worker in the
I'm so glad you all came out. It's wonderful. And I'm just so glad that we're here together to prove to this company that we will not back down at all. Yeah. That we want everybody in the hotel to hear us. We want to all the guests. We ain't going nowhere until we get what we deserve. Better pay.
Yes.
Better wages.
Yes.
Better benefits.
Yes.
More job security.
Yes.
We will not stop until we get it. We scream to the city of Baltimore that it's not over yet.
Sorry. No, man.
So I want to thank, I know I'm going to miss some people.
the great IWJ Interfaith Worker Justice folks that were here before. We got Local 7 members from all over the city. Before we do our traditional closing, there's one other person whose birthday it is today, who's been a tireless supporter not only of Local 7, but of many, many, many fights for justice all over the city, whose name, if you don't know it, is Mike McGuire. We have a tradition of singing happy birthday on our picket line, so I think we should sing Mike happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mike. Happy birthday to you. Bring it down. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Bring some funk in it.
Happy birthday. You can't interrupt Miss Charlotte. Another quick announcement before we wrap up. Cold. Good evening, everyone.
Hey.
The 82 workers at Morgan State University have been working with an expired contract since September of 2008. Their last raise was September 2007. How would you feel if your last raise was September 2007? We're getting very close, pushing the company they worked for, Thompson Hospitality, to reach a settlement. We are fighting about the cost of health care. Healthcare cost keeps going up, but the company wants the workers to pay more and more and more of it, and they can't afford it, especially since they haven't gotten a raise. So we are having a picket line when school starts Wednesday, September 23rd, from 3:30 to January 23rd. Thank you. As soon as school starts, the corner of Hillen Road and East Cold Spring Lane, we have announcements. Some of my leaders are passing around leaflets. I'm going to pass them around. Save the date, January 23rd. Thank you. Woo!